Well, hi there. I'm Lisa Hamsterneck, and this is Hamsterneck Living, and it is the holidays. And I thought I would show you some tricks and tips for using Christmas lights in your background and how to create some really beautiful bokeh. I'll tell you what bokeh means too. I was going to use the dog and say you could do a portrait with this as your background and how to do that. The problem is the dog, well, she doesn't like to stay still and she won't look at the camera. I mean, she's a good girl, but she's a puppy. Instead, I looked around the house and found some Christmassy items. The idea is that when you want to take a portrait of somebody or you want to take a picture of some object or Christmas decoration and you want it to have a really pretty background, you can use the lights of your tree to make that background. I'm also going to show you some other ideas using some little twinkly lights. So here we go. So first, let me show you my setup. So I turned my tripod so that I can have the camera hanging below it. And the only reason I did that is because I wanted it to be at about the same level as the nose of this little guy. So imagine if it's a face. But if I were taking a portrait, I might set a chair right here and have the person sitting here. And then I could use the full tripod with the legs fully out and the tripod up on the top like you usually would. And then I'm going to use these lights on the tree behind it. Now, the truth is you probably aren't going to even know it's a tree, but the lights are going to show through, and that's the part that's pretty cool. First, I'm going to show you what bokeh is. And essentially, all you need to do is turn your camera on, have your camera set on the lowest aperture possible. The lower the aperture, so like this lens is a 50mm Canon. It's that nifty 50 lens that I like so much. And it goes down to a 1.8 aperture. The smaller that number gets, the more round the bokeh will be. Let me show you the bokeh here. So here I am, I'm gonna focus on the nose of that little gnome. So do you see those little circles of light in the background? Those are the Christmas lights. But because I have it on 1.8, they're very, very round little circles. And that's bokeh. That blurred light in the background is bokeh. And it can look all different ways. The light circles can look much bigger or much smaller depending on how far you are from the lights and some settings on your camera and the like. But it makes for just an incredible, beautiful, holiday-ish or just festive background. Doesn't even have to be Christmas. Let me show you what happens if I have this set to a much higher FTE. I'm still going to focus on that nose and take the picture. Now, because I have it set so much higher, it meant that the focus went all the way back to the tree. And so you can actually see more of the tree and whatnot. The circles are much bigger and they're more rounded and there's less flare than the previous shot where I was at like an f16. Now, keep that, remember that though, because if you're in an f16, when you're taking a picture of like a light bulb or these little lights or the sun, instead of getting that round sun, you'll get those flares that sort of explode off. And that is so cool also. So that's another neat effect that you can do by adjusting your aperture. Just for the record, I have this on aperture priority. So the camera is setting everything other than the aperture. Let's try something a little bit different. I'm going to pull out this little Sanibel and see what we can do with it. I have the camera set on aperture priority. It is locked on ISO 100 and the f-stop is at 1.8. That's not bad. That's not bad. Now, I can see a lot of the room in the reflection of the very shiny silver bell. And ideally, I would probably take all of this stuff off the table so that you couldn't see any of it in the reflection. But you still get the idea of the subject of the picture in front of those beautiful blurred Christmas tree lights. And again, if we want to have a better idea that it is a Christmas tree, we can up the f-stop to say 8 if we want to get the tree looking a little bit more like a tree, that first of all, the background is much darker because I've now closed the lens down to about an 8, which is probably about halfway as closed as it can come. If I were to go further, say to an F, I think this lens goes to f22, you can see that the tree and the ornaments and the lights are much more in focus, which isn't really what I like. I like it to be that very blurred that we saw at, say, an f1.8. It's dark out now, and we're gonna try one more little trick. So instead of using the tree, which gives off a lot of light, I'm gonna use these little twinkle lights. These things only cost a couple of bucks. I have a red placemat taped to this window and twinkle lights. Then I have a Christmas figurine. And then I have my camera again on the bottom part of the tripod. This might be a little too dark with just the snowman here with those twinkle lights in the back. So I'm going to use this little Aperture MC light. Let me turn this down a little bit. I just want enough light from the box that the front of this Santa is lit up. So I'm going to back up the camera and bring the Santa a little bit closer out from those lights. I'm going to use this little light and I'm going to hold it in my hand so that I can have it somewhat above the Santa and give just a little bit of light. So it looks like maybe there's a street light in the distance on this cute little area, and he's got some lights behind him and something red-ish. I'm going to focus on his face so you can see that those little twinkle lights make really nice bokeh too. It just looks like a some lights behind him. Okay, so that's it for me and Cody here. Cody, you're a good girl. That's it for us. Until next time, enjoy your adventure. Peace.